This chapter was handled differently from a lot of the chapters we've had for Black Clover, where it started off with just a straight up just introduction and just we are going to explain everything really that was going on with Vengeance, what's happened to him, like what led him to this decision now that involved killing Julius. Like, it was a very interesting like part of the chapter where it's like this chapter literally has two parts of it. Of like, there is the William part and then there's the Patri part of this chapter, which like I find fascinating. And like, honestly, with the fact that what they did at the end with certain characters, and there's this really weird alliance that could be happening right about now that like, unfortunately, the Clover Kingdoms might be needing everyone that they can get. So let's just talk about William and what's exactly has happened to his fate, because yeah, there is some very interesting stuff with the chapter that just delved into him, where like he was talking like about like saying, you know, as long as he could remember as a child that he could feel this person that's been hurt, he was angry, he was sad, like I could feel all this and all that, and he kind of felt like it was his duty to protect this existence. It's like, it just wasn't his body anymore. Like, you know, no matter what, even though how badly he got treated because of the nobles and all that, and like his painful childhood, it's like this was kind of like, he felt like he was obligated to do such a duty. It's like, no, this thing is all mine. And then when he was describing where it's like, it was 9 years old that I started to see like all these like dreams, these days of happiness, and you see, you know, like Leech, you see Vito, you like you see all of them all there, like it's just all like happy, smiling, enjoying themselves. You can see the one that was supposed to be like, you know, Luck there, and it's like how he he was talking about this, and it's just like that all ended, that all just disappeared with like you know, with deceit, despair, and hatred, and it was just like, it felt like my life's duty to protect you more than ever once I started seeing these things. And then it changed because we met, you know, Julius, and like it was a kind of, he was like, the way how he's talking about him, where he was just like, you know, like he's a weird guy and all that. Like, he was the first person to ever recognize me for me, like not for like what exactly I looked like, not exactly how I was talking. He was kind, he was a lovely person, and then I would dedicate my grimoire and my services to this. Like, it shows that it's like how bad, where I was like, this is the first person in my life, and it's like if I didn't meet William, I met like, you know, like if Patri and William never was a thing together, this could have been a whole completely different scenario for this. And he's just like, oh yeah, you haven't got your grimoire yet though, but don't worry and all that, you know, like you'll get your grimoire accessions when you're like about 15 or so you can just have fun until then and all that. And so like, I just know you're just going to become an amazing knight like that. You can't wait. And just seeing this, and it's just like how he was talking about it, it's just like he's so happy. And sadly, this is where Patri really woke up, and this is where this whole twisting of like their bodies and all that started to happen. And it was just like when he started waking up, it's like when he was 16, and this time he talked about like how he's joined like there was a term as well, like where it's like he joined the Ashen Deers under Julius. So one thing to clarify, like as this was in the chapter as well, a lot of people thought this was the Azure Deers that he joined them, and it's like, no, this was a completely different group of Magic Knights that happened. This is presumed that this was Julius's group, and I'm guessing once he became like they just disbanded, or like they just completely like changed over to the Azure Deers. Like it's still a little bit unclear about like what exactly went on with this group for the most part. And it was like, and one thing he talks about is like over time the souls started talking. They started like, you know, coming to an understanding against like their fate, their nature and all that. And they had the ability to swap their souls. So he was able to switch him around, hence why Leet is able to use his grimoire, like for the most part, or Patri I should say. And more important, and then the same thing can be said for Vengeance, where I was like, oh, well, this is how he was able to hide both of them. And the same thing is like, when they did that, it was able to like get rid of like the massive like mark on like William's face. And it's like, that he's like, it was absolutely my duty and all that for me to turn into you, but I would have to betraying both my country, the others that I treasure so dearly, like you, the person I consider a twin, like I share a body with, and the one who showed me how to live, and the one who stands at the top, like William. I had to make this choice, and unfortunately, he chose the choice that he personally thought was right, and he was like, the one I felt like I just couldn't do and all that. It's just like I'm lost and all that, to who to choose, and no matter what, I'm bound to hurt whoever I choose and all that. And then how he tears himself up and all that. It's just like he's like, you won. I'm supposed to congratulate you and all that, but it's just like I can't, for the most part. And it's just like, so there's so much and all that. It's like, it's your wish and all that that's going to be granted and all that, Patri. And it's like, I can't follow that. I'm going to have to say goodbye. And we see him, from what seemingly happens is that when we see Patri wake up, he seemingly has left his grimoire there, and it's just like William has gone into an endless slumber. So how they're talking about is that pretty much that either William is not going to be a part of this equation anymore, or it's like, I just can't control that. I don't want to be witnessing of what you personally are going to be planning. That can still say that William can also come back. We've seen clearly what Asta has done to the other members of kind of the elves and all that, so I still think that's something around there. But how he's talking about the imperfect resurrection is he's talking about this is perhaps what is supposed to happen to these people, so same thing could happen with all the other elves as well. So maybe obviously they were talking about a timeline, but I think deep down all that they're still in there, and depending on the sword, whether or not we can fully bring back some of these people, again and all that, it'd be weird. It's if we can bring back William at this point, but it's he clearly wants nothing to do with this and all that, and he's just thank you, my friend, and all that, as he goes back, and he leaves the book next to the stone tablet on there, and he's just with that he's like, there is no longer any humans who can kill me. This really just dark face. It's the one thing that he felt this is the one thing that could actually stop my ideals. This could stop my dreams, and it is exactly that. But I'm like, oh no. It's I cannot, I'm not looking forward to when that happens. But although he talks about and all that, he described it's Leech should be headed to the capital with Raya and the others, so he's discussing where he's I must hurry as well to the Clover castle and all that, and it's he is there going to take out that piece of shit king. So it's he's that is the last place of our revenge. I need to go there right now, and he's we need to finish this off immediately. So that is everything to do with with Patri, and the same thing can be said as well with William. So I'm holy shit, that's definitely that was a really interesting part of the chapter. It was a huge part of dedication on there. Then something happens to the bodies of Rades, Valtros, and Sally, and we see Rades get up. His body his grimoire starts glowing, and he just starts screaming in agony, and it's he finally learned a new spell at the moment of death and all that, where apparently he called back the souls of the sacrifice and put them back into their bodies, which is a soul manipulation, true soul corpse magic, and it was so finally, right at the very end, was he able to do something, and with this, he not only brought back himself, but he also brought back Sally and Valtros, and it's just he's screaming, I'm gonna kill him, I'm gonna rip him to shreds, and all that, you're gonna pay, he's losing his mind and all that, and he's you too as well. It's luck is on our side and all that, the two of us, let's go kill them together. I want to know though, even though Rades brought them back, does he actually have control of Sally and Valtros? That's why I want to look at his other parts, because we see them immediately as the chapter ends, where it's Asta and the others are on the castle, on their little black ball castle, and they're yeah, we're the best and all that, and they're celebrating, and then immediately we see Rades, Valtros, and Sally all there just appearing that, and it's hey black balls, we're gonna use you fuckers for our revenge. Only Rades says that. only he was on there. Sally kind of looks still the same crazyless person as she is. Valtros, we don't even get to see his face. So I want, like, exactly with this and all that, does Radis have the full control of Sally and Valtros now, or are they still their own people? Because how, like, he was talking about, he's like, you know, I can control these people, like, how he was being presumed. I still feel weird about the whole part of, like, Radis coming back, but then again, I remember it was, like, again, like, how done dirty Sally and, like, Sally and all them got, when they got their souls taken, so it's weird, like, it's definitely a weird ending to the chapter, but I am very curious with, like, this is the kind of the lines that we need to make right now, and like and as I was discussing like good couple of chapters ago when this was happening, when like the whole betrayal was all going on with all the like a lot of their members turning into elves, it's like, well, we now have this scenario that's being put up right now where the black, like with the whole Clover Kingdom, they need to actually make some alliances right now, and that they need to put like all their differences aside, and like perhaps maybe team up with the Diamond Kingdom. Like we know obviously people like Mars and Thana are there, so we can actually use them to like to try and like get a hold of this situation. Now we might be making deals with some of like the old members of the White Knight Eyes, that like, or the Eyes of the Midnight Sun, depending which one you go. It's like, so are we really gonna have this team? Like I saw some people saying like, oh my god, like Sally, Radis, and Vulture is gonna join the Black Bulls. I don't think that's what we're gonna be having. They're gonna be their own unit. They're gonna be their own kind of little place, and it depends whether or not Asta and all them are going to actually take this. I think next chapter is gonna decide whether or not, like, are they still free will? Like, because we've seen what he did to, obviously, his other toys and all that, but I'm pretty sure, like, no matter what, these guys are going to be forced to follow Radis regardless, because, again, it's his magic, and I'm pretty sure, like, he can, like, control it in whatever way, but that is a terrifying magic for Radis, then, because that just means Radis can just be a immortal for the most part. Like, it's going to take a lot to destroy his body, like, then, it's like, you have to, like, I guess that's the only way. You have to just permanently just turn his body to ash, and then that'll be the only way to prevent it. Because, like, his body was still there, but it was charred as anything and messed up, like same as the others and all that. So we're going to have to wait and see. Like, 166 was a very interesting chapter for me and all that. So I want to know what you guys think in the comments down below. But that is all from me. Thank you as always for watching, though. And just let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below what you thought about this chapter. But I'll see you guys, though, next time.